You've got dead spots between songs or the piano by itself just sounds empty. Learn to fill the gaps and add some ambience with volume swells. That's what's coming up on Worship Guitar 101. Hey guys, Chris here from Worship Guitar 101, and today we're going to be talking about volume swells. So I'm going to have a different bit of a setup here where I'm going to be showing you my pedal board and what I'm doing with my feet more than anything today. But what we're going for is to create an ambience that can fill in the gaps between songs or can complement a piano or keys or other instruments during soft parts of songs. We're really just trying to create almost that pad feel, some ambience that fills in. So I'm playing my Gibson Les Paul Traditional Pro 2 through a Vox AC15 with a Celestion speaker in it. And here's my clean dry signal. And now I'm going to show you how we're going to create some volume swells and some ambience within the song. Alright guys, this is my pedal board setup here. And don't be too concerned about all the pedals that are on there. We're really going to focus on 2, possibly 3 pedals for the most part as far as getting this sound, this ambient volume swell sound that we're looking for. Now obviously the main thing we're going to need here is a volume pedal. So I'm using this Ernie Ball VP Junior right here, and it rocks back and forth to create volume. So when it's rocked back, the volume is off. So if I play, you won't hear anything. Whereas when it's pushed forward, the volume is on all the way, and you can hear the tone come through. So volume pedals, they work. There's a volume pot inside of the VP Junior, and different ones work in different ways. But the way this one works is it's got a string and spring that wraps around that volume pot, and when you push your foot down, it pulls that volume on. So it's very similar to turning up the volume in your guitar itself. So you can see what the effect is. If I slowly push this volume on, I'll strum a G chord here. So there I'm taking the volume down, so volume up, volume down. So that's really what a volume pedal does, and that's the majority of doing a volume swell. You want to be able to control that, preferably with your foot. You can use the volume knob on your guitar if you're that dexterous. I am not, so I really prefer having this volume pedal right here on my pedal board, just because it is so convenient to be able to turn volume on and off. Now the other thing that's nice about the VP Junior is that it's got a separate output for a tuner. So you can see I have my Snark tuner on there. It's my my pedal board tuner. So even when I have volume off, I can play a string. Actually, I see my A string's a little sharp, so I'll tune that down a little bit. So I can do that on or off, whereas with most tuner pedals, when you turn on the tuner, it actually cuts your signal. So I like the Ernie Ball VP Junior because it's got that. The other thing is it's got a really simple mechanic to it. You can repair it yourself if that spring or string were to break, and I have another one of these that I keep as a backup just in case of that. I can throw this one off the board, throw that one on the board if I need to. So that's the main piece of equipment that we're going to use. Now the other thing that really is going to help us get this volume swell sound is a good delay pedal. So in this case, I'm going to be looking at the Boss DD20, the Giga Delay, which is this larger pedal over here to the far left of the board. It's actually a dual pedal. One is for memory or toe tap. I've actually got a tap tempo switch attached to it that I use for tap tempo, so I don't use it for the tap. This is mostly for memory. You can write different settings into the pedal, and then this one is simply just turn the effect on or off. So I'm going to turn this on right now, and you can hear what I'm doing with this. What I've done with this pedal is I've set the effect level up as high as it goes. So what I want is a full volume when I'm at full volume swell. So I'm actually relying on a delay as I swell in, kind of creating this flow sound into the delay. So as the delay repeats, you're not really going to hear that volume swell in. It's just going to extend the note for a very long time until I rock the pedal back. And then it's going to continue carrying that through on delay, because I've also set my feedback up pretty high. So my feedback on this one is just above halfway. So that'll probably give me about 6 or 7 repeats for feedback. So with the level up where it is all the way and my feedback up pretty high, I get a pretty extensive delay sound. The other thing that I've done with this is I've set my delay at 900 milliseconds. It's set at 900 milliseconds, just under a second. Usually about 3/4 of a second to a full second is really what you want as far as getting a good delay. You can get a good volume swell with a half second as long as your feedback is up high enough. So you just kind of got to play with that feedback and play with the delay time. Anything longer than that, and it doesn't die out fast enough. So if you have a sound that you want to drag out for 7 or 8 seconds, you certainly can set that higher. But in my case, I keep that just under a second with a full level and feedback just above half. I also have my tone just above half that keeps it keeps the most of the sound of the guitar without killing the tone too much. And then my mode for this one I just have set on standard. So this is just a standard delay, just under a second, high level, high feedback. If you're using a different delay pedal that doesn't have all these features, set your level up, or your mix, it might be called mix like it is on the carbon copy here. Set your delay to about the point where you get a second. And like on the MXR carbon copy, the regen is essentially feedback. So feedback, regen is about the same thing. It's how many times you get a repeat. Level, mix, you'll hear those terms. You might see mix on your pedal, you might see level on your pedal. And then the delay knob on the MXR carbon copy is essentially sets your delay time. So I'm paying attention to level, feedback, and time here. Here I'd be paying attention to mix, regen, and delay. So let's hear how this sounds just as a delay itself. I'm just going to hit one note here. And hear how that trails out. So it's just under 900 millisecond delay. Have this set at a quarter note, so the 900 milliseconds really would be a whole note, but in this case I'm at a quarter note, so I'm getting a quarter of that. So I get about 7 repeats before it really dies out to the point that you can't hear it. And that's really all there is to it. Setting my delay where it is, and then if I rock the volume back, let's go ahead and play something here. I'm going to play a chord, and then I'm going to play the chord with the volume in the complete off position, and I'm going to rock that volume on. See, it just kind of extends out forever. Not really forever. But if I back that volume off, because I've got the delay, the volume's off, but that sound is continuing on. So volume is now off, but the delay pedal is carrying that tone through. And I'm just playing a G chord, an open G chord. I play the chord with the volume in the off position and then rock the volume on after I've strummed through the chord. And you can use this technique to bleed chords together. So let's switch from a G to a C. And what I'll do is I'll pluck the G, I'll rock the volume on and bring it back, strum the C, rock the volume on and bring it back. And you'll hear this kind of transition of the two chords bleeding into each other. might actually hear some of that delay. So to create, one thing you can do to kind of filter that out is add a second delay. In this case, I could turn that carbon copy on and make sure that the delay is not set at the same time. They call that staggered delay. What that'll do is kind of smooth out the delay sound of the other pedal. But that's completely optional. In fact, I'll turn that one off because I know a lot of people would not have multiple delay pedals. If you're playing a lot of worship music, you probably should, just because staggered delay does come in very handy, and I oftentimes keep that carbon copy on during a set the whole time. So in this case, I'll just use the delay just like you were hearing. Now I'll also note in this case I am using my neck pickup, so I've got my pickup selector on the Gibson here in the rhythm. I tend to keep the tone pretty low. You can add a nice sharpness to it by playing with the bridge pickup. I'll move to the bridge pickup and play that same GC. And I'll switch back to the neck pickup. Hear the difference here. Now another thing you can do with Swells is you can play single notes. You don't have to strum chords. I have used single notes to complement a piano, pick out key notes within the chord that the piano is playing, and you can bring in swells with that and sometimes add a nice little pad effect under the piano. In this case, if a G or C, I might do something like this. And all I'm doing here is I'm just playing the E and the B strings on the first and third fret, just switching between what would be a G chord or a C chord with that first finger. You can add a nice little violin sound if you put in a little bit of overdrive with that, with not too high of gain. Keep the tone low, add a little bit of overdrive, and you'll almost get a violin sound out of the guitar. Is a reverb. So I'll add some reverb into this, and I have a pretty long decay with about a third mix. I'll use my Strymon Blue Sky here, and it's just set for a standard, let's see, I've got it set for just a normal room reverb with not a lot of pre-delay, and that'll add a little bit of a brightness to it as well, and also add that tonal overhead that a reverb pedal adds. Transition is you could use the chord progression that lies between the songs, something that would transition well from one song to the next. For example, you could add like a G, a D, and an A to switch into a song from the key of D into the key of A. But the primary pedals that you need in order to get a good volume swell is a decent delay pedal, something that you can extend out the delay time on and get that mix or that level high, as well as the feedback, because that's really what's doing the bulk of your work here. And you can create just some really beautiful ambience between songs or throughout songs. I've actually used a lot of this technique in songs when there's not a whole lot of other things going on for lead guitar. I might turn something like this on and just play through some chords, add some accent notes, bring in some swells, and it really does a lot to fill in the gap and fill in the sounds. Thank you guys for checking out this video today on volume swells here on Worship Guitar 101. If you found this video useful or you have any comments or questions, please feel free to add them in the comments section. And I do reply to comments. And also don't forget to subscribe. We'll have new videos coming out shortly and some different techniques to help take your worship music to the next level. So God bless and have a great day.